What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. It is Wednesday night. Thanks for hanging out with us. I hope you guys are all having a good evening here. It is June 4th. This is mock draft number 4. We're mock drafting ESPN. We have a 12-team PPR mock draft. Pick number 4 for me tonight. We're already on the clock here. The first few picks: Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, and Bijan Robinson. I'm going to be clicking on Bijan Robinson as much as I can. I think if I have the choice, I want him in the top 5. But we're on the clock here at pick number 4. You have Justin Jefferson, who's on the cover of the video tonight, Jahmyr Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, Christian McCaffrey, Ashton Genty. I'm going to stick with Justin Jefferson in here. I have no questions on his talent. He's one of the best receivers in the game. I feel really good about him being in my lineup every week. The only unknown is what are we getting with JJ McCarthy? And from what I've seen, early reports look good. It looks like the knee and everything have been going pretty well for his recovery and things like that. I've seen him moving around in some practice videos, and he looks really nice. But these are the numbers with Sam Darnold. I think we have a pretty rock solid profile here for Justin Jefferson, and just locking in one of the best players at the position, never a bad idea. So we'll go Justin Jefferson to start this draft here, and then Tony hanging out with us tonight. He's in the 5 spot. He grabs Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think I've been doing, just because I've been doing a lot of running back starts lately, I kind of wanted to try something different. So Tony collects the Jahmyr Gibbs. CeeDee Lamb goes number 6. Amon-Ra. We got Aiden in the chat grabbing his Brian Thomas Jr. here at pick number 8. We love Brian Thomas Jr. Draft Brian Thomas Jr. if you can. Derrick Henry goes 9th. Christian McCaffrey 10th. Devon Achane and Puka Nacua round out the first round. I'm excited, man. I just got done today finishing all 32 teams for projection. So I'm going to probably start getting that stuff posted on the website maybe by Friday, if not next week. You're going to start to see projections on the fantasyfellowship.com. And then I'll probably be getting some redraft rankings up. I just did my dynasty ranking update this week for June. So check out, there's a lot of stuff to check out there on fantasyfellowship.com. Rookie rankings and dynasty rankings are fresh. And then, we're going to be getting some redraft projections, some articles, some data studies and things like that. And I did not think I was going to be on Christian McCaffrey, but my projections seem to like Christian McCaffrey quite a bit. I think he was RB3 or 4. But anyways, we're moving into the second round. Malik Neighbors falling to 13 seems like a pretty good value here. Josh Jacobs, Ashton Genty at 15. That seems like a little bit of a head scratcher as well. So large falls for these 3 awesome players. I'm on the clock here. JT, Bucky, AJ Brown, Nico, and Drake London. I think I'm going to have a rule this year where I want to, if you have any shot at Bijan Robinson round 1, you take him. If you have any chance at Drake London round 2, you take him, preferably not on the same team. But that's where we're at. We got JJ. I got 10 seconds. Brock Bowers, Kieran Williams, James Cook, T. Higgins, Trey McBride. I don't know how I feel about it, so let's see how this feels. Let's go with Brock Bowers here. He is the tight end number 1. Fantastic rookie season. He was tight end 1 last year already. Averaged a ton of points, and he never slowed down, man. He got started off pretty hot, and he had some massive 30-point games here, ended the season strong, and now we're getting I know it's Geno Smith, but you have to admit this is a pretty massive upgrade at quarterback as to what he played with last year. So I'm interested in Brock Bowers. I don't know if I like it. We'll see how this shakes out, but I do think there's an advantage to having a chance at the number 1 tight end every year. So we'll take Brock Bowers and see where that falls. I think Trey McBride's also a good pick. Ladd McConkey is another good pick. I could have grabbed him as my wide receiver too, but we'll again, we're mocking. It's not too serious. We got Aiden saying thoughts on Harvey with the Dobbins visiting Denver. Yeah, that was when I sent that to my friends, I was not pleased, man. I just got done taking Harvey in a dynasty rookie draft a couple weeks back, and damn you, Sean Payton. It's always Sean Payton to upset me. But we'll finish thoughts on Dobbins and Harvey in a second here. I'm on the board. Cook, Kieran, and Chase Brown just went off the board. I would have liked to maybe grab a running back here. Kenneth Walker. Breece Hall kind of intrigues me here. I don't think I like T. Higgins, but a high-profile wide receiver too. Devontae Adams actually graded out fantastic in my rankings. But I'm just gonna grab Breece Hall. Really good player. I think the Jets offense will be a little bit more exciting this year with Justin Fields, and just the running aspect of that team should be kind of fun. So we'll grab Breece Hall as our RB1. Now back to Dobbins. I haven't updated the projections to see what that would look like with Dobbins, but I liked where Harvey came out. And if they do bring in Dobbins, man, that's going to be pretty annoying. You're looking at probably a 50-50 split for the most part. I'm not really concerned about Jaleel McLaughlin. We kind of know what he is. He's a change of pace, smaller running back. But if Dobbins goes, that just blows up all the fantasy value for the Denver running backs, because we can't really, as it is right now, I want to start Harvey as my running back too. You bring in Dobbins, I don't know who's getting goal line work and short yardage work. I don't know who's getting the receiving volume, because I think Dobbins can do pretty much everything. But how do they split that up? Not my favorite potential landing spot for J.K. Dobbins. I would have preferred him to go elsewhere. But I get it. The Broncos do need some more depth at the position. I think Dobbins probably presents a pretty good challenge for Harvey, and it really makes it messy there. So if we're drafting today, Harvey, I'd view him more as a top 30 running back instead of the top 20 running back that we've kind of been drafting him as the last few weeks. But anyways, we are moving in round 3. After I took Breece Hall, you can see Jackson Smith and the Jigba go to Tony. Quarterbacks coming off the board here: Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, T. Higgins to Aiden. I like T. Higgins quite a bit. For me, I needed a running back in this spot, so that's why we grabbed Breece Hall. Kenneth Walker didn't really grade out all that well in my projections. I think we're going to see a lot of Zach Charbonnet as well, and just Walker just always seems to miss a few games, which is a little frustrating. Now, Devontae Adams, I still think he's got it. We haven't seen him decline yet. I mean, he had some massive games here with Aaron Rodgers, and now he's going to be the number 2 for Matthew Stafford behind Puka Nacua. I think this is a pretty good spot, and we might get one more beast year out of Devontae Adams where he's going to put up, 1,100 yards and maybe 7, 8, 9 touchdowns, something like that. So I was not really in on Devontae Adams until I finished my projections and saw where he landed, and I think I might be in on Devontae as my wide receiver too, because you're getting a low-end wide receiver 1 potential every week. Not quite sure how I feel about Joe Mixon, just another year older. I kind of like the Texans passing game this year more than Joe Mixon. And then Amarian Hampton, man, he's looking like a guy that could continue to rise up draft boards, especially once we get into training camp and we see how they're going to start using Najee and Amarian Hampton. I know he's going to have the receiving profile that we're looking for. So in a PPR league, Hampton excites me. But man, if he just is simply just better than Najee Harris and just dominates the touches, that wouldn't surprise me. We do have Alvin Kamara, Terry McLaurin, started round 4. And Rashee Rice, he's looking good. I saw a couple clips of him running and looking fine. Garrett Wilson, I kind of want to buy low on some of these Jets guys, because Garrett Wilson's one of those guys that I think him and T. Higgins in a vacuum, I could see Garrett Wilson having a better season than T. Higgins. Jayden Daniels, round 4. Excellent value there. Mike Evans, Marvin Harrison, and Travis Hunter here at 44. We're on the clock. I don't love this board. Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, George Kittle, Xavier Worthy, Joe Burrow, James Conner, Chuba Hubbard, RJ Harvey. Nothing's really sticking out to me here. I'm just gonna take Tyreek Hill as my wide receiver too, and I know that he might be losing some of his speed, but I feel good about him every week that he's in my lineup. As long as he's healthy, I'm starting Tyreek Hill, and as long as Tua's healthy, I'm starting Tyreek Hill. So for me, don't feel great about Tyreek Hill, but it's kind of just how the board fell. I do like Xavier Worthy, but I think on a weekly basis that Tyreek Hill ceiling still excites me a little bit more, because it is a pretty concentrated passing offense over there. And hey, if they do end up trading Jonnu Smith, which would be stupid, more targets get opened up. And I don't really know what I think about the running backs in this range. We're kind of getting to that point where there's no more stud running backs left. They're all kind of guys that just get into committees. I do think James Conner interests me. I know he's older, but he's a guy that when he's healthy and he's getting the ball, man, he is a difference maker. I do like a lot of these wide receivers in this range as well, but I'm just going to grab James Conner, my RB2, and basically the rest of the draft, I need to find some RB3s and 4s that could potentially take over if we do have an injury at that position. So we kind of cover our core 5 here. I feel pretty good about it. Tyreek Hill is our wide receiver 2. Worries me a little bit, but I think as long as he's healthy and 2 is healthy, we're going to like it. So we're just going to have to cover up Connor and Tyreek Hill. We'll get some youth at those positions. And Tony grabs Travion Henderson here, another rookie running back off the board, Quinshon Judkins. I'm not quite sure how I feel about both rookie running backs this year. I do think the Patriots they're going to want to run the ball. I think that's kind of the recipe that they're setting up. They draft offensive linemen. They draft another running back to pair with Ramondre Stevenson. I think that's going to be what they're trying to establish as their identity. We want this team to be Drake Maye and the running backs making a lot of plays. But I still think Ramondre Stevenson's going to be involved more than people would think for Travion Henderson. And then with Quinshon Judkins, I'm excited about the rushing volume that he's going to get, but in a PPR format, I'm not quite sure. I still think Jerome Ford's fine as a pass-catching back, and I just think the lack of QB play could really limit how many passes are going to the running back. And then there's the other thing too, is like if the Browns are losing a lot of games, what's the volume look like for Quinshon Judkins? So I just have questions there. I think Sam Laporta, David Montgomery, Devonta Smith, those are names that I'm probably clicking over some of these rookie running backs right now. DeAndre Swift's interesting a little bit, but I'm not overall too excited about the Bears running backs. We'll see. I still kind of believe in Roschon Johnson. We'll see about the rookie they took out of Rutgers. But Xavier Worthy falling to 60 here, that was a pretty good fall for him. And then Ted McMillan scored out pretty highly in my projections. I think he's going to be the clear-cut number 1 target for Bryce Young, and you can get him here in the 6th round. That feels pretty good. I also like Jameson Williams. I like the Zay Flowers pick. And then, man, Calvin Ridley popped off in my projections today when I finished up with Tennessee. But I'm on the board here. I do think Jerry Jeudy is interesting. I think he's going to be a guy that, no matter what the QB play was even last year, he still, showed up and commanded a bunch of targets. I think Jalen Waddle, I already have Tyreek Hill, but I would have been interested in Waddle. I'm just going to click on George Pickens. Let's just put him on the bench here. If anything does happen to Tyreek Hill, we have a guy that we know is talented, and we're hoping for the best in Dallas here. And then I might go back to the well. Although my guy Ramondre Stevenson is kind of sitting there. I also, me and Jalen Warren go back. But Tony Pollard also kind of came out pretty well in my projections today. The Titans, man, they don't have a very good fantasy roster. It's Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, Calvin Ridley, and that's kind of it. I think those 3 guys are going to get fed the ball a lot this season. So but we're on the clock. Jerry Jeudy does fall to me. I do think Chris Olave is a really good player. I think Jordan Addison would be a good pick here too. I still like the Ramondre Stevenson pick as well. I think Jalen Warren's going to be in for a good season, but I'm gonna grab Chris Olave. I think he's a better receiver than Jerry Jeudy. I know he's got some questions at QB, but both teams have questions at QB. And for me, I want to make sure I have options at wide receiver. I got Justin Jefferson, who I feel great about. Tyreek Hill, Pickens, Olave. I'm kind of wide netting that position. I'm going to see what sticks. I could have easily taken Jerry Jeudy. If I didn't have Justin Jefferson on my team, I probably would have been interested in Jordan Addison. And then I don't know, man. Something about Ramondre Stevenson intrigues me. I think he's probably not going to be getting a ton of games where he's getting these 20 carries, but these 12s and these 13s, I think he's still going to lead the team in carries, and he's still going to, get enough passing work and probably be the goal line back. So we'll see if Travion can beat him, but I think I'm going to stick with my position and say that Ramondre Stevenson's probably the better click at ADP over Henderson. And Tony grabs another interesting player here, Isaiah Pacheco, who I like a lot. I don't really know what Kareem Hunt's going to offer, just another year older. They did bring in Elijah Mitchell, who's interesting, but I think maybe just the injury was too much for Pacheco to overcome and get back into the groove. But I think getting the Chiefs' potential RB1 is probably a good move. Aiden does grab Jerry Jeudy. What do we think of that Dallas running back situation? Can Javonte Williams kind of rekindle the flame here that he had in Denver when he was looking like a top 5, top 10 dynasty running back? I'm interested in the Denver or the Dallas Cowboys running back, and right now it is Javonte, but we'll see if Jayden Blue, some of the other guys can make a spot happen. Cam Scatterbo is interesting. I think he could maybe overtake Tyrone Tracy. He actually goes ahead of Tyrone Tracy, who Aiden just took. If anything, Scatterbo's a do-it-all kind of guy. He might even end up being the goal line and short yardage back right away. I still think Tyrone Tracy is going to have a receiving role. Still going to try and find a way to get him his carries. But it is kind of looking like some kind of committee might be happening in New York. So I think both guys are good clicks here in the 8th round because, all it takes is one injury and you got the running back one on a team. And then there goes Jalen Warren. There goes Jordan Addison. I think those guys are both really good picks at ADP here. And then Tony grabs Evan Ingram, who I like waiting for tight end a lot. And Evan Ingram is one of my favorite clicks right now. But we're on the clock here. Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel, Chris Godwin, a bunch of old receivers. Not sure I need one of these guys here. I'm just going to click on Austin Ekeler. I need a running back on my depth piece. And Ekeler was actually, he got banged up a couple times throughout the year, but for the most part, he was hitting double digits, catching 2, 3, 4 passes. I think he might have a little bit left in the tank for one more fun season. We're on the clock again. Travis Etienne, Jags running back, maybe. There's Zach Charbonnet, who I mentioned is a pretty good handcuff option in case Kenneth Walker goes down. I do think Tank Bigsby is a guy that interests me a little bit. Ricky Pearsall, maybe he gets going in year 2. I really like the Jayden Reed pick as well. We're going to go Jayden Reed. So now we have 5 receivers. Haven't even looked at quarterback yet. I think waiting for quarterback this year is a pretty sharp move because look at some of the names still available. Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams, Justin Herbert, Justin Fields, Drake May, Dak Prescott, J.J. McCarthy, Jordan Love. I can take one of these guys, and if I need to make a waiver wire move early in the season to kind of move into a top 10-ish QB, I think we can do that. So I think waiting for QB is kind of my move this season. And we have a solid core so far. Brock Bowers holding down our tight end room. Running backs, Breece Hall, James Conner, and Austin Ekeler. We'll need maybe 2 more guys there. Our receiver depth looks pretty nice. JJ, Tyreek, Pickens, Olave, and Jayden Reed. So we are pretty deep there. Blue isn't a very good runner who I assume Javonte will get a ton of carries. So I don't think Jayden Blue is a volume runner. I think he's a guy that is going to have a lot more juice to offer than Javonte or Miles Sanders does at this point. And I expect Javonte to lead the team in touches, but I think per touch, Blue might be the more yards per carry, the bigger play kind of guy. He is smaller. I don't know about his pass blocking yet. Javonte might have him in those regards, but we'll see what happens. We just need Javonte to get some of that burst back that he lost a few years ago. Time to call my TE like Bowers again. What did Aiden do here? Colston Loveland, and man, I did not love the pick when it initially came through, but I think for what the Bears want to do, they want to be a tough team. They want to run a lot of more 12 personnel. I think Loveland, and man, we've seen a lot of tight ends, rookie season tight ends the last few years have great seasons. We've had Laporta, we've had Brock Bowers. Maybe Loveland's on the same level of tight end and he puts up a top 5 tight end one season. I think that's a great pick. Especially this late at this point of the draft. We got a lot of running backs coming off the board here. I still don't have a quarterback. I do like Bhayshul Tuten, a potential sleeper here for the Jacksonville Jags. Justin Herbert down here, man, there's some good quarterbacks available. I'm just gonna grab Tuten and just put him on my bench. I think there's a chance that he is again, kind of like Jayden Blue, I think he might be the most explosive back on Jacksonville. And we saw what happened with Bucky Irving last year. I know a lot of people are looking into Bucky Irving and Liam Cohen, but I think there's a little bit of something there with Tuten. He's kind of a fun, electric playmaker. And then I'm gonna grab one more back here, and I'm just gonna handcuff my James Conner. So I feel really good about my running backs and receivers now. We're 5 deep at both positions. I have 2 more bench spots to fill. I might end up drafting 2 QBs. We'll see. But the running back room is Breece Hall and James Conner. If anything happens to James Conner, cool. I got Trey Benson. I have Austin Ekeler, who I could pull up in a pinch and get my 12 points. Or Bhayshul Tuten, maybe one of the dark horses that an injury happens to Tank Bigsby or Travis Etienne, and we get Tuten on the field. Maybe something happens there. And we're moving into the 11th round. You got Jayden Higgins, Darnell Mooney. I would have probably considered Justin Herbert had he fallen. Trey Benson for us. And then Kyle Williams, a guy that excites me a little bit. I think he can be the number 2 receiver for New England and maybe the long-term number 1. We'll see what he can do. Excited for August camp reports. Brandon Ayuk this late. Really good pick. I don't know how I missed that. Ayuk. Ayuk's a great pick this late, though. Round 11. That's a steal. A lot of kickers coming off the board. Jack Bash, Tyler Warren. Marshawn Lloyd. I'm kind of interested in Marshawn Lloyd. Year 2 as a handcuff type back. Someone on the bench that, we're one injury away from Josh Jacobs and potentially looking at Marshawn Lloyd on all the waiver wires. So I think he's a nice click this late. I'm looking around. Look at the quarterback. I mean, I could grab Fields, Maye, Prescott, McCarthy, Jordan Love, CJ Stroud. I think waiting for QB is the move this year. I don't know if I want to put Fields and Breece Hall on the same team. So, if I didn't have Breece, that would probably excite me. But what are you going to do? I'm going to go ahead and just grab my Drake Maye. Because Drake Maye was really impressive as a rookie, guys. He's got the rushing upside that I'm looking for, the consistency, and I'm hoping the touchdowns are just going to flow into his column this season. So we'll grab Drake Maye here. I might grab one more QB. I don't know. Let's just look around for more running backs real quick. There's nobody that I necessarily need. I do like Rico Dowdle down here as a sleeper. Receiver position, a lot of rookies. Trey Harris is kind of fun. Rashad Bateman, Christian Kirk. There's some interesting guys down here, but I'm going to double down and grab my QB2, and it's Jordan Love, guys. I'm not going to be a huge Packer homer on this one, but Jordan Love, there's a lot happening last year. The Packers offense actually improved in 2024 compared to Jordan Love's first season, and basically the touchdowns just fell over to Josh Jacobs in the running column. Jordan Love still had a really good year. And I think the leg injury, the knee injury early in the season really limited his rushing upside. I think there's a lot more meat on the bone here for Packers and Jordan Love. So we'll grab Love, Drake Maye, and see what kind of happens and play the matchups there. A lot of defenses and kickers coming off the board here. Even JJ McCarthy, man, that wouldn't be a terrible pick this late. You're looking at maybe a top 10, top 12 guy. I could have stacked him with Justin Jefferson. I don't know if I needed to. And then I do like the Zach Ertz pull this late. If I need a starting tight end, I'm fine with that. Still don't know what's going on with Dalton Kincaid. Tony grabs Christian Kirk, who I think is a fine pick this late. And then CJ Stroud, everyone anointed him as a top 5 QB last year, and he's free. Absolutely free. Jared Goff, absolutely free. Trevor Lawrence, absolutely free. There's a lot of value here at the QB position. I'm just going to grab best defense because I can't really think right now. I'll grab the Jets D real quick. I don't even know if that's the best defense available, but I got one more spot to fill on my roster. If I need a tight end this late, Brenton Strange, Jake Ferguson, those are 2 names. I think Mike Gesicki graded out really highly in my rankings. He finished the season pretty strong here with a couple double-digit games. He just wasn't very consistent. Let me look for one more running back here. I'll grab Rico Dowdle. If anything happens to Chuba Hubbard, you got something there. So we're all good at running back and our receiver depth. I kind of stopped picking receivers after the 5th one, but I feel pretty good about this roster. Drake Maye and Jordan Love to hold down the quarterbacks, the running back room. Breece Hall and James Conner on bench. Ekeler, Tuten, Benson, and Dowdle. I kind of like those guys because there's going to be involvement for those players. Like Ekeler and Dowdle are going to be involved in the offenses every week. Injury happens, all of a sudden their stuff kind of opens up, and then we have some true handcuffs with Tuten and Benson. We've already talked about the receivers. And Brock Bowers, I don't really know if I need a backup tight end if I take a Bowers or McBride. We're on the board here. I mean, I can't be mad with Harrison Butker. I think the Raiders are going to kick a lot more field goals this year. I think that's a fun one. But we'll grab Butker here, and we'll call it a day. Pretty good team. I feel confident. I'm pretty excited about Drake Maye and what the Patriots can do. I think it's going to be a lot better product, and they're going to score a lot more points. They're just going to be in a lot better situations. So waiting for QB looks pretty good to me. I'll figure out how to get a top 10 quarterback this way and stack my roster the rest of the way. Let's take a quick look at Tony's team. He starts off with Dak Prescott, quarterback 1. Running backs are Jahmyr Gibbs and Travion Henderson. Backup running backs include Pacheco, Garendo, and Blake Corum. So we got some nice handcuff type running backs down here. Pacheco can slide up at RB2 if needed. Receivers, Drake London and JSN. I love that duo. Even Travis Hunter here as your flex wide receiver 3 looks great. And Calvin Ridley too, wide receiver 4. That's fantastic value. Ibuka and Kyle Williams, some nice rookie darts here at the end. And Christian Kirk, maybe he gets pulled up at some point. And then Evan Ingram, tight end. Pretty good looking team here from Tony. And Aiden's team got Jayden Daniels. Absolutely love Jayden Daniels. Running backs, Bucky Irving and David Montgomery. I feel pretty good about that duo. On the bench, you have Tracy, Bigsby, Braylon Allen, and Jalen Wright. So some year 2 running backs. I like the Bigsby. Bigsby can be pulled up in almost any game. All he needs is a touchdown and 60, 70 yards. And then I think Tracy will continue to have a PPR role. At receiver, BTJ, T. Biggins, Zay Flowers, Jerry Jeudy, and Brandon Ayuk, and Trey Harris. I love that receiver room. And Colston Loveland at the tight end position. So I think Aiden had a pretty good draft. A lot of fun wide receiver depth picks there from Aiden. So there you have it. That was fun. I'm going to be live pretty much every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time going forward. We'll continue doing these mock drafts. I did get a mock request. I'm going to have to get to that. I'm probably going to upload that early next week. It's a sleeper mock draft. So if you guys do have any mock drafts you want me to do for you, I'm going to continue to do these live streams probably on ESPN. But if you want to see, I don't know, Yahoo, Sleeper, any other interesting mock drafts, let me know and I can make those videos and upload them. So yeah, Brandon Ayuk, man. And we're at that point where it's June. Mandatory OTAs are next week. So we're going to get one more little news dump of action and highlights and tape next end of next week. And then we're setting into the summer, man. And we're not going to see anything really from football until training camp. So Ayuk, I expect him to continue to rise. Yeah, I still like Ayuk quite a bit. But Jawan Jennings is a pretty good sleeper too. If you don't like Ayuk, you should like Jennings. Or maybe you just draft George Kittle. Draft Kittle, draft CMC. I'm not quite sure. But either way, thank you guys for hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Got me feeling icy.